Good morning, Ultimate Business Support. Welcome again to our usual Monday morning coffee chats. Last week we didn't have one because we were up sunning our butts on the gorgeous Gold Coast in Queensland. And this morning we're back as usual. Good morning to everyone that is also joining through Facebook Live. Thanks for the love heart. Hey, Sally, nice to see you on the call as well. Hey, Donna. Donna's, I think, on both platforms, GoToWebinar and on the live stream. So if anyone wants to be on the business in the hot seat segment, which is what we're going to do this morning, please also jump on the platform of GoToWebinar. So where you're going to find that link on how to jump on that is if you go into the pinned post at the top of this page. On your mobile device, you'll need to actually view pinned post and find the link in there. Or also yesterday when I was doing a live stream, I was also put the link on there as well. Otherwise, I've got quite a few people here on the call as well that have joined on through there. Good morning, Elaine and Liz, and I've got Penny here and Helen and so many amazing people that I know from all over this country joining in on the call. So one thing I wanted to start it off by saying before we do, I'll just give you guys an opportunity to join through GoToWebinar in the next few minutes. I wanted to teach you a little bit of how I go about starting my planning before planning 2017 properly. So what I look at, and this is what we did about 3 weeks ago in our planning day, and we've got one more planning day coming up, which I'll tell you about a little bit later in the call. But the very first thing that you have to look at when you start planning for the following year is setting your intention in terms of, well, you're in business. So you really, in order to make your business viable, you need to actually figure out, what revenue do you want to generate in 2016 in order for you to, work backwards from that and to determine what kind of income streams do you have or do you need to set up to achieve that figure. Now, usually, and good morning, Amy, nice to see you on both platforms as well. So usually what people tend to do when they're earlier on in business, they pick a number, they pluck a number out of their butts and they go, I want to make $150,000 next year or whatever that is for the person. And I always say, well, have a look at, first of all, what result did you achieve this financial year? Then second of all, have a look at what income streams have you got or what kind of product, services, programs, things like that do you have that you are going to sell and where are they priced at what price point and how many of those did you sell during this year? And then the other thing is, what is it that you need to build, perhaps maybe over the Christmas period, because that's the perfect time to build some products and programs and to plan out what is it that you're going to launch into the new year that is going to then top up whatever the big figure is. And I always say when you aim for an amount next for the following year, always stretch it out by at least 30% more, because I always say, if you were to achieve 80% of your goal, would you still be happy? So if it was a stretch goal by 30% extra, say, for example, you want to make 100,000, I would be planning a year that would equal to 150,000 in revenue. So all of your income streams and selling X amount of each one needs to add up. So I have like a little template that I usually share at my planning day, which we come up with a total figure of what the person has done that's realistic, that we can see how we can work backwards from it, and then we go into marketing and planning. So the planning stuff doesn't actually come until the very, very, very end. Once you have worked out what's my total figure, broken it down in terms of how many of each amount income stream or product or service do I need to sell, and then working backwards to what marketing activities and how many leads, prospects, and clients I need to get to achieve that figure and to make it realistic. Okay, so now that I've given you that little insight around that, we've got pretty much everyone that's going to be on the call here. So I'm going to ask a question of those people who are on the GoToWebinar platform, and there's quite a few of you. So, business in the hot seat, and this is my next little slide. I don't really have any super pretty slides, but this is what I've got happening right here. So, what is virtual hot seat? So, some of you have seen me do this live at our home. And have taken part in it, and others have maybe don't know what it is. But basically, it's us collectively, the 30-odd people that we're on the call live right now, on GoToWebinar and on live stream. We want to help one person that's going to be on this call that is wants to improve a certain area of their business, and we're going to generate some ideas together. So it's not just about me generating ideas, but also everyone else pitching in. And what usually happens is that people who are you can translate the idea shared for the one person that's in the hot seat into your own business. So you tend to get lots of ideas. I remember when we did this at our home for 3 times this year, actually, we hosted a business in the hot seat day, and there was 8 participants, and basically everyone got like 40 minutes in the hot seat throughout the 9 to 5 day. And at the end of that day, we had so many different strategies brainstormed that are going to be able to be transferred or I guess made sense of in each person's business. So at the end of the day, people walked away with a bag full of awesome ideas and actionable steps that they could take out. So I thought, why not do something different today and do a virtual hot seat with someone who's on the GoToWebinar platform, because that way I can take them off mute. So for those of you that are on GoToWebinar, who would like to step up and be in the hot seat today? So you just need to comment me, yes, or whatever it is that me, of course. And we've got the first me, and that is Donna. And I always love to reward people who are leaders and step up and say, yes, me first. So Donna, I hope that you are ready, and I'm going to take you off mute in a second, and let's see if we can hear you. I don't know why my screen keeps changing a bit differently. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can hear you. All right, so I'm just taking Donna off mute. Hey Donna, can you hear me at all?
Hello.
Hello, how
Are
are
you there? Yay, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Good. I remember you saying one time that you got the first person that put their hand up, so I'm going, me.
Yes,
Even last night.
yes, because people go first. I always watch my audience. Whoever puts their hand up first, I grab them, because that also displays leadership qualities and someone who's willing to step up and obviously be honest and be vulnerable in front of everyone. So I just want you to know
I
that,
know, this is scary.
yeah, you're in a safe place here with everyone that's watching a live stream and in the GoToWebinar platform. So are you okay? You're okay obviously to share what you want to share this morning.
Well,
It's
I
public.
didn't realize I was on Facebook as well, because I'm actually watching you on Facebook and I'm using my phone for the webinar because I couldn't see you. So I thought I want to see Natasa.
Going to be able to see your face.
Okay,
Yeah, and
let's go for it.
people they really don't know what your surname is, so it could be any Donna, right?
Okay. All right, let's go for it.
Let's delve into it. So everyone that is watching and everyone that is listening also on GoToWebinar, what is it that you'd like us to help you with? So collectively, you've got about 30 people collectively across the 2 platforms.
Oh, wow.
So what is it that you would like to get help on today?
Look, I suppose with my business, I'm transferring, and I'm already doing business with keynote speaking and coaching, and what the challenge is for me is transferring over to what I originally started as a fundraiser campaign, and then it's just really grown, and now I'm doing it as a business, and I think the the thing that I'm finding a little bit tricky is, getting that across to my fans and followers, because I do have a following on Facebook page that I've had since the fundraising campaign, and also subscribers, and now Instagram and Twitter as well. So, yeah, just sort of transferring that and letting them know, hey, it's okay, it's safe, it's a business, but still having that. I'm not sure whether people are going to leave from it, and if they do, I suppose that's just what it is. Yeah, just sort of communicating that clearly.
So can I just clarify? So far, the way you have grown your brand and your business is through doing a fundraiser where a lot of people have been following your journey and your story and things like that, and you want to
Mm.
translate and transfer these followers to become now part of your tribe and community, who potentially might end up doing some work with you in a mentor coach sense of format. Is that right?
Yeah, I do group adventures, as you know, but also I'm just sort of beginning to get back. I mean, I've done coaching in the past, but beginning to get back into the one-on-one coaching, which got another client last week, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, so transferring that over and getting the knowledge over to people that follow me, because they've known me as a fun, kind of cheery fundraiser, which I still, within my business, give back to, the community some way, in a cause that I'm, interested in at the time. Hmm.
And just Amy's asking on in the comments is, what is your core business?
Yeah.
So can you explain to everyone that's listening what your core business is, of what you offer?
Yeah, see, that's the tricky thing too. Thanks, Amy, for asking, because I'm a keynote speaker. I'm also an author, and I'm soon to have a new book with Nat,
Mm-hmm.
and also a coach. I call myself an adventure and performance coach, because I do coaching programs, group ones, and we do adventure programs, really, big challenges for some people,
Yeah.
and that's what it's all about. But also coaching is the one-on-one kind of the business side of things, and personal stuff comes up as well, of course.
Yeah.
So it's hard to define. I sort of tell people when they ask me, what do you do? And it's hard to define in what area, because it's such a broad. I sometimes just say, hey, I'm the founder of, my business name.
Yes.
And that's when conversation starts as to, oh, well, what do you do?
Mm.
So my core, yeah, as in the one thing, is hard to define. You know what I do,
Yeah.
Natasha. What would you what would you say? I don't know.
For those of you that are listening, Donna's about to come away at the November retreat, and her book is called The Unlikely Marathoner. And, she's got quite a significant zero to hero story. Are you okay for me to share?
Why not? Let's go.
So she basically went from having a stroke at 8 years old to running a marathon, and taking those small steps to the big journey. I mean, I know there's a lot more into the story which we won't go into here, but I believe that you're very much your personal brand, and people are following the inspiration and the massive goals that you have achieved. So your core thing behind, it's being able to take the leap behind something that seems so impossible and scary, and taking people through to, having achieved, achieving that particular massive goal. Because you could completely continually challenge yourself. And as you said, the adventure and performance coach is probably the most accurate way to explain what you do. But what I would be doing, Donna, is to
Mm.
perhaps start by creating some. This is my first step that I would take to test the market and how you get your leads in, because the biggest challenge for you is, how to attract leads and to have those conversations who are then going to convert into people either doing one-to-many or one-on-one types of programs with you. So the kind of things I would be testing out is pulling together a few lead magnets, whether there might be an assessment, an ebook, an audio, a visual, Penny's just saying create an amazing elevator pitch for yourself. I think it's more than that, Penny. I think I would create lead magnets around what is it that you have solved for yourself that can solve someone else's problem. So I know you're writing a mega massive book, of course, which is going to be your business card on steroids. But what are some little things? Like, for example, you've been quite successful at building a community and a following through the fundraiser that you did. I'm sure there's other people out there who want to do fundraising as well, who may want to know the steps of how to set something like that up and grow it and actually achieve whatever funds they want to raise. So that might be a side program or a side thing that you could offer to teach people the steps. Then the other thing is how to, like you've become a runner and a marathoner. There's so many people out there who want to do those things. And as you say, you are mentoring and taking people on adventure type sports. But you know what I mean? How do you get to it? How does someone train for a marathon? Where does it start? Some people might have it to the side of their mind, but they always go, oh, no, that's just not me. But I don't think you need to be any kind of special person to do something. You just need to know the steps you need to take. Yeah?
Yeah. I haven't thought of myself as a running coach because I actually had a running coach of my own and think of him as more of a running coach because he is more qualified in that physical, like not a personal trainer, but other qualifications that are associated with that. So I haven't really thought of myself as that. A lot of people are inspired by my story and just like to watch what I do. What's the next challenge Donna's doing? Or then there's people that like to join in. But
exactly.
I hadn't thought of the fundraising either. That's an interesting one.
Those
Natasa.
are a couple of solutions that I think there is a desire in other people to want to achieve. For example, just to give you an example, last year when I created the very first Ultimate Success Planner, which I can show people on. So when I created this, the minute this came out, the Success Planner, I had so many messages in my inbox saying, Nat, how did you do that? Where did you print it? Where did you, get the, who designed it for you? And all of these questions. And I go, oh my God, I could so easily create like a little e-course that would teach someone how to build and create and design and print and have their planner ready, for their community or whatever it is. So, but I chose not.
Oh, really?
Often people come to you for a solution on something that you have already achieved. And Penny just added in an extra comment. That's where I was leading to with the elevator pitch to solve people's problems that will help Donna when she meets people during networking. Yeah, so the other place is even without even creating lead magnets, you can, and that's a great idea, Penny, you can put a variation on your pitch, on your 60-second, this is what I do, every time you go to an event to see where you get the biggest reaction and where people go, gosh, tell me more, or they come up to you afterwards and want to have a bit more of a chat, because that's when by externalizing this is the exact problem. And I would only pick one problem that you solve per pitch because, of course, all of us have multiple problems that we can solve for people. So, for example, my core message is about writing a book in 48 hours. But now that you've gotten to know me, you know that I can teach people on sales mastery. You know that I can do like a planning day. You know that I could do bums on seats. Like I've written books on separate topics, but I will never pitch all of those topics all at in one breath.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. And thanks, Penny, for your comments too, because she's put in Facebook as well.
Yeah.
I've always found it hard, and I've been to network events in the past, and once I, said I'm a keynote speaker, and then people just go, "I'm Tony Ray." I just go, maybe they don't know what a keynote speaker is. And then sometimes I've said, "Oh, look, I help people achieve their big, scary goals," which is, is part of what I do too, and that may sort of get a conversation going. Yeah.
There's a comment here from Amy as well. You're almost smash your personal limits coach. Just a guy, and that's that's a good little angle to take on it. I get people to the limit of what they think, beyond the limit of what they think is possible for themselves. I think that's where you've nailed it right there on the last comment you just made about when you say I'm a keynote speaker, you're absolutely 100% right that people have no idea what that is. Most people,
Yeah.
you know what? Until I joined the Professional Speaking Association, I didn't know what a keynote speaker is, and I just thought I was a speaker. Like, what is a keynote, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think take it another step. I mean, you can still say that you're a speaker, but people often don't need to know that you're a speaker. Actually, they need to know what problem you solve through those speeches. So if you were to go
Yeah.
there, how is that company or how is that group that you've spoken to being transformed after you have spoken to them? So can you tell me maybe a little bit about that so we can see where that, so when you
Yeah.
talk, what do you sort of talk about?
Briefly about my story, like any keynote speaker introduces themselves, and then it's all about the marathon journey, and then putting it into their version of how they can achieve goals themselves, which I always say through baby steps.
Yeah.
From, because my story was 30 steps to a marathon, I could only run 30 steps, and it was big and scary at the beginning, but I did it in baby steps. And
Mm.
I just did a keynote last week, and I had a lot of people come up and, were inspired by it. And, some, people that could, actually relate to the actual, my actual story too. So I could say that I'm an inspirational speaker, I suppose. And my key message is there's no such thing as can't, is what, or there's another message that I use, another quote is the power is in me, it's in you too. So they're probably the two things that I always say during and even at the end, the message to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And yeah, people are inspired by it. And some people have said to me, look, have you got something to sell at the end of it? Well, I don't. It's a message, it's a keynote. And sometimes you're not allowed to. But I have had a lot of people ask, have you got a book? And that's why, yeah, I'm doing a book with you, which is
Yeah.
great.
Good.
But yeah, so I always get people saying you're inspirational. I don't know how you did it. How did you do it? Keep coming
Yeah.
up to me and
So
asking
when someone
further.
says
Yeah.
that, how did you do it? That's when you need to create a system or a step-by-step course that's going to teach someone how to
Mm,
do it. And that's what you're going to offer. So absolutely, by doing your book, you're going to have something to sell at the end of your speeches. And even if you're not allowed to sell, your book's going to be there so people can come up and see it and then sort of get it. But also,
mm,
as a result of that, we will build an online course to complement that. So it's the next higher level from that. And then have your one-on-one coaching and some of your group adventure support type things. So there's definitely the funnel will be born out of the content in the book, and this is actually what the book is doing for you, is actually giving you the content as to, your story is inspirational, but you obviously, to achieve your zero to hero status of where you are now and you continue to grow, there is obviously a logical sequence of steps that you took that if someone else modeled, that they would get a similar result as you.
mm,
Mm,
mm.
yeah. So I think
Okay, thanks.
bottom line,
Yeah.
because we're getting close to close to the end of our time.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm keeping an eye out on it. Three things I would say: test out it, like Penny suggested. Test out a variation of an elevator pitch in where you say exactly, when people have X problem. Well, I do X, Y, and Z to help them by helping them, blah blah blah, do this. So go more specific rather than leaving it at just I'm a keynote speaker. Secondly,
Yeah.
create some short lead magnets that you can test out and of course ultimately utilize to build your database, because by building a database and nurturing a database, ultimately people will some percentage of those will go through your funnel of different programs and coaching and services that you've got to offer. And yet get very specific around what, as Amy said, what is your core business, and but build those. I would say let's work on. Of course, we're starting to work on the book and the programs, but let's use these 3 months of November. Well, October's nearly finished, but November, December, and January to really pull together amazing resources that you will be able to sell at the end of your speeches.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for your tips and bits.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for stepping up and being in the virtual hot seat.
Ooh.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So that was the virtual hot seat. I hope that every one of you that perhaps was on the call and listened in took something away out of it. And if you did, why don't you comment below on the either in the questions box of GoToWebinar or in what you watched here on Facebook Live. And a few people are saying, "Well done, Donna," from Joy on GoToWebinar. But I'm super excited. This week is going to be a massive week for myself. My sister from another mother, Francesca Moy, is coming up from Queensland to Melbourne tomorrow, arriving at my place at lunchtime. And you guys, there's quite a few things coming up. So I'm going to tell you that. That was so cool, Sally says. All right, so let me just put this up. So I'll tell you what's coming up this week. It's going to be huge. And I want as many of you as possible to come and hang out with us. But on Wednesday, first of all, let's start from Tuesday. From Tuesday, Francesca is hosting her Empowering Events networking event at the same venue that we will be doing the Bums on Seats masterclass. Mastermind. No, it's meant to be called masterclass. Sorry. I have posted a link to this 2-day event. This is a 2-day event. So on Tuesday night, we're doing a networking night at the Shopping Town Hotel. And I will be able to post that link just below this video once I get off the call. But secondly, then Wednesday and Thursday, 9 to 5 in the same venue, because we're going to set it up the night before. For 2 full days, we are going to be teaching our Bums on Seats system to over 50 other people who are coming along. So ensure that if you can make it, I know it's short notice, this is going to be a massive 2-day event. And then lastly, you guys heard about the planning day that happened at our home. Just 3 weeks ago, we had 9 people at our home who planned out their year, their calendars. We worked backwards. We worked out what they were going to sell and how they were going to achieve their massive goals for 2017. And we have one more day left for planning this year at our home, and that is happening on Thursday, 10th of November. So we have 4 more spots. We only take 10 people at a time. So if you are interested and you want to come for a full day, all food provided, your planner provided, all that amazing content and information shared, private message me, and I'll get you all the logistics of what it's gonna look like and how it's gonna be. Good is just saying the planning day was awesome. Highly recommended. Yes, it was awesome. And I actually had Kim, who you can see here in the picture, this little lady. She attended that last year and came back and said she smashed the goal she set last year at the planning day, and now she set one even scarier and bigger, which I'm so proud of her. So Sally's also saying best day ever. So I'd love to see another full group. Like we had 4 people coming from Queensland for the first one, and we only do 2 of these a year. So I do strongly recommend that you snap up the opportunity, because this only comes around twice in the year around this time, because October, November, the times you should be planning 2017. But I have, as I said, a massive week, a networking event on Tuesday, 2-day training with Francesca on Wednesday and Thursday, and I've got a couple of dinners where I'm catching up with people, and obviously getting ready for the following planning day. So if you'd love to come along to any of those and you're not sure where your links are, just private message me and I'll send you all the stuff. But I'll finish off this morning on a quote, and that is good luck is the result of good planning. So I hope you enjoyed this morning, slightly different coffee chat. I hope, Donna, you got lots of value out of what suggestions were made. And I can't wait to see you guys next week, same time, same place. We'll think about what we might explore in a little bit more detail. And I look forward to connecting then. All right.